Welcome along to another Pixiecast, and I am back in the United States of America, and I am in South Carolina. The first time that I've been in South Carolina on my tour around the world with my Pixiecasts, and I'm talking today to Rob Byers. Hi, Rob. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Welcome to Charleston, virtually.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So you're in Charleston. Tell us a little bit about Charleston.
Charleston's a pretty small city. Nothing's very tall here because it's right on the water, and it's a peninsula. I think half of it was built on kind of garbage and added dirt to the
Okay.
water. Anything
Uh-huh.
tall would sink into the ocean. But it's a nice peninsula. It's very European. Some kind of good turn-of-century buildings. Most of it survived the Civil War. It didn't get burned. But this is where the Civil War started, actually. This was the first firing of that. So that's kind of
Sure.
something, I guess, if you're into history.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Lots of great beaches, lots of great restaurants. That's why I'm here. It's a good place to be.
And are you from that area originally then, or it sounds like you might have moved there?
From Virginia mostly, and then in Georgia for a while. So kind of southeast area of the country. I went to
Okay.
Oregon years after college, but I like the South. I like warm weather. I'm soft when it comes to the cold.
So you haven't been to the UK then?
No. I mean, up to some point historically, but is there a warm sunny season? Is it like a couple?
Yeah, it lasts for about 2 or 3 days.
No, I'll
Sometime,
come then.
sometime around June, July, or August.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to come sometime though.
Oh, we'd love to have you. So yeah, hopefully you'll get over it at some stage. No, we do have summers, but they're very unpredictable. So
Mhm.
yeah, you never know. It could be anywhere between sort of, well, I work in Celsius, so it's not very helpful to you, but can be anywhere between sort of 15 to 35 degrees on a summer's day. You just never really know. So
Mm.
and
Yeah,
you can have 4 seasons in one day over here quite frequently.
and here we don't really have winter. Winter is about 2 days where again I'm Fahrenheit where it drops down to like 40.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
about 110 degrees uh, and about 100% humidity. So you walk outside and you feel like
Oh wow. Yeah.
swimming through the air and everybody is soaking wet and it's kind of gross. So that's why we
Mm.
go hot.
So what do you do for a living then, Rob?
I guess the best way to describe it is I'm an architect. I do a lot of corporate spaces. Currently, I'm working for Delta Airlines, #1 airline in the world,
Hmm.
kind of managing their corporate headquarters in Atlanta. So I travel. Well, in the beginning of March, I was traveling a lot. Now I've just been, we all work from home. So I've been holed up in the room above my garage for 6 months, doing a
Uh-huh.
lot of calls. So, this is kind of my day, talking to people all over the world on a little
So
time.
so is that sort of designing new terminals or just doing work in existing terminals and redesigning
Yeah,
the
some terminals, but mostly we have our main kind of corporate headquarters is in Atlanta. We have about 2 million square feet. That's kind of where, HR and the executives and IT and everybody live like right off of the airport. So I kind of deal with that. We're going through a refresh of that big building. And then we have hubs all over the country where we have reservation agents. If you ever call in, you're going to talk to somebody in one of probably 12 spots, and we kind of help them figure out what new workplace looks like and what'll be better and, what's going to happen after COVID when people come back. You're not going to be elbow to elbow anymore. So
uh-huh.
just is so, you know, so it's busy, but it's a
Yeah.
lot of right now.
A lot of uncertainty, I'd imagine.
Sure.
Yeah.
But please, everybody fly Delta. It helps me keep my job. It's my shameless
Well,
plug.
I think we're all itching to be able to get back to traveling again as soon as possible. So I've got an Australian wife, and just not even having the option to go back to Australia and visit her family, and that is very frustrating. But
Sure.
there we are. Yeah. So Pixies, then tell me about Pixies and how you got into them.
So this is kind of a long-winded story, but maybe it's interesting.
Yeah.
My family owns farmland in Indiana, out in the middle of the country, where most of the European people never need to go. And that's why we call flyover country. It's just all flat, and all the streets are perfectly square for miles, and it's just corn and soybeans. So every summer I go out there and work on the farm with my grandfather and drive tractors and
Well.
get dirty, and it's pretty fun. So there's no towns or stoplights or stores anywhere near. So I went across the state line into Illinois. And I like to go to pawn shops and just kind of look around, you know. Do you guys have pawn shops in England?
Do you mean sort of like antiques?
Yeah, but
Antique shops?
it's new stuff. Like if somebody's down and out on their money and they've got a
Oh,
guitar,
okay. Yeah.
get a loan and usually
Yeah.
don't go and take it back. So you buy a lot of, you know, stolen stuff, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. No, we do have pawnbroker shops. Yeah.
Yeah. And they always have a lot of CDs because people probably steal them out of people's cars and sell them. But, you know.
Probably. And often it's one of the first things to go, isn't it? If you need to raise money, is you sell your music collection.
Yeah, exactly. I was flipping through CDs and I saw Doolittle, and it was the cover. I love graphics, and I saw the cover and I'm like, wow, this album looks really smart. There's like this monkey and it's got that metallic print on it. I'm like, this looks intriguing. You know, I flip it over and I'm reading the song titles. I'm like, wow, these look pretty creepy too. I think I'm gonna buy $1. I'm like, yeah, I'll buy this. You know, my musical taste before then had been David Bowie, Lou Reed, you know, Neil Young, Black Sabbath when I was younger. So heavy, crunchy, you know.
Yeah, so you had a good background there.
Yeah, I was like, this sounds pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I didn't have a CD player in my car, so I had to drive, you know, an hour back to my house. And I had like a little tiny Walkman CD player, and I put it on and listened to the first track and like Debaser. You know how that song starts off. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. You know, and I listened through the whole thing straight through, and it's just like, you know, how have I not heard this before? This is incredible. And I just listened to it all summer, all the time, just over and over. And I didn't even know what the songs were because it just always played on a loop. So I probably called them all the wrong thing because, you know, it's not like on your phone where you can see it. It's in the player, and I was in a car or I was in a tractor, and I'm just listening to it constantly over and over. And I was like, that was it. I was hooked.
So you hadn't heard of them at all up until that point?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. So when I went back to college after the summer, and you know, I had a group of about 10 friends that we all split and all come back together, and we all hung out. And I was like, man, listen to this stuff. And they're all like, this is awesome. And like, we were all just like hooked, all of us. And then I got Surfer Rosa next. I met somebody who had a friend who had that and listened to that thing. And same thing from the first track. I was like, this is insane. And I just listened to it over and over in my car. At that time I had it on a cassette, you know, and I did a lot of driving for school because I had to go kind of a ways for class. And I would just listen to Surfer Rosa on a loop, just over and over and over, and just loving the songs. And, you know, like we all say, the dynamics of the Loud, Quiet, Loud, and the crazy songs and the frantic rhythms and the screaming and Kim's voice. It's just like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
I can tell you're really, really passionate about it, and that passion has stayed with you to this very day.
Yeah, no, it's great. And you know, went out, got Bossa Nova right away, and then about that time when we were all like absorbing all of that, and you know, it was the era of record stores, so you couldn't go online and find anything. So we'd drive around towns, and somebody would find, you know, like the B-sides from Doolittle with the dog on it, and wave, you know, that's like, hey, I think they had a song in the Pump Up the Volume movie, so we'd all get that and like record it off of there, the Musication UK Surf and all that. And then about that time is when Tromplemont came out new, and we all were like, this is awesome. So we went and saw them. Like I said, saw them in DC in December of 92, I think.
Okay.
And like everybody says, I think they played every single song, you know. You know, the thing I like about them too, and the shows, they don't mess around. They just get up there and they just out. There's not a bunch of chatter, or, you know, and they're just like, up there, man. And like, it's always like, oh, this song, you know, after a while you're like, all right, they're all my favorite songs, you know. It's not, you play anything and you don't really like it. I have one song, it's not my favorite, and I argue with Jason Bostic about it all the time, but you know, it's not a bad song. Silver is probably my least favorite Pixie song, but I still really like it. It's still better than about anything else by anybody. So
I'm with you on that one as well. I always say that about Doolittle. It's the one song for me which just sort of,
yeah, I mean, it's a little dirgy. You know, they could have fit something else in there, like all the Doolittle B-sides. Like they could have slipped in Dancing with the Manta Ray. You know, that could have been a real swap out for silver. You know, I'm sure I'll get on the Facebook page after people see this, and I'm sure there'll be some flack about it.
I'll defend you. Don't worry about it.
Right. So I am Team Doolittle. I'm not Team Bossa Nova, although
Okay.
when I got Bossa Nova, that fits in with a lot of what I liked, same kind of UFOs and conspiracies and space and all that. It was, you know, it's like he was writing that for me. It was like, I love this stuff. You know, that was right when people were starting to hear about Area 51, and that was in there, and it was just awesome. You know, they've got such a great narrative that runs through the albums. You know, it's very well out, and you know, the graphics too. I love Von Oliver for AD. I've got a bunch of their stuff, just graphic style, and they're just so well. It was back, you know, now all of our music on phones, we just get it on the phone and we look at it. Back then, you know, he had these booklets and the pages and the art in them, and, you know, all the stills that were in there for Doolittle, like the Wave of Mutilation with the crab and the shoe. It's just like, these are all just so, it's such an experience. It's a package instead of just audio. So
it's the whole thing for you then.
oh yeah, I love that. You know, I grew up in the era of getting a record and opening up and looking at the liner and reading the words and looking at the pictures while you're hearing the music. It's, you know, it was like that. Or people that had like the double albums with the folds or the weird posters. You know, it's fun, and they're kind of moving back to that. I think that's what 4AD and Von Oliver really did too. Is they really created that package. You know, like, I don't have it, but a friend of mine has the Minotaur set, and just looking at all that together, it's, you know, it's really special and it's worth it. So
Absolutely.
Now that I'm not in college, I can actually afford that stuff too.
So you've very clearly come out on Doolittle's side. Does your favorite Pixies track come from Doolittle?
Oh man, I don't know. It's probably two. I listen to Hey a lot, and I always fell in love with that guitar sound.
Yeah.
It was just so floaty. But I also, I think my favorite song is probably Brick is Red. The Joey's guitar on that is just so intense. Intense doesn't even do it. Just so anxious. There's just something about it. It's like, wow, it just really, you know, really does it. It's just got such a vibe, you know.
Uh-huh. Well, they've both been chosen previously by other people that I've spoken to. So
Sure.
Hey and Brick is Red. Matt Beebe, who lives locally to me over here in the UK, he chose Hey, and Brick is Red was chosen by J.R. Keys as well. So
I could probably do one on each album. I also really love Anna on Boston. It's just so beautiful, and the Anagram of Surfer. I mean, it's so clever and floaty. I just, you know, I listen to that and look out at the beach, and I feel like that is the perfect song for that.
Yeah.
I've never surfed, but I love that. You know, a couple of days ago, I was going through all the songs. You know, there's definitely a couple on the new one that are surfing. So I was trying to kind of compile all of the surf songs in there, and there's a great chunk of them. So it's
yeah.
I don't ever see Frank Black on a surfboard, though. I don't know.
He doesn't strike me as a natural. He doesn't strike me as a natural surfer. You're absolutely right. Maybe back in his younger days he was. I don't know.
Maybe. So yeah.
So and then they go and split up after Trompe le Monde.
Yeah, I remember hearing that and hearing, you know, I don't know if it's truth or rumors, but supposedly Frank Black faxed everybody and broke up.
Yeah, that's the general story that we hear.
I mean, yeah, you could even tell on Trompe le Monde, right? There was some tension going on. There wasn't a lot of Kim stuff on there, and felt like it was moving away. So, you know, I could see that, but yeah, I know there's the whole Kim, no Kim argument.
No Kim, no deal. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's awesome. And I'm a big fan of the Breeders, you know, and all of her other stuff. I just rediscovered Pacer, which I had never heard. And same thing. Now I get into these music addictions when I go out in my yard and cut my grass. It takes me about 2 hours to do my garden, as you guys call it, which is much. And I listen to Pacer just over and over on my headphones. And same thing, on my phone, I had no idea what the songs are called, but same thing. When I heard that first song, I was just like, this is incredible. And, you know, Kim's awesome. I love the Breeders too. So I think I think them splitting after Child of Mon's probably a good thing, honestly. I think they both kind of went on their ways. Frank Black's solo stuff was really great after that, and the Breeders kind of took in a whole new direction. I mean, from her being, kind of second round on Pixies, and then coming out with like Last Splash and Cannonball. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really great songs that are pretty amazing. So
yeah, you can see why she wanted to go her separate ways at that stage, and she had all those tunes and that going around in her head, and she wasn't really able to sort of bring those into the Pixies set as well. So yeah, you can see why it was right for them both to go parting their ways at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So Frank Black's solo career then, a fan of his solo work?
I am. I remember hearing the first one and hearing Los Angeles on MTV and being like, that's pretty cool. And that one, that's a real mix for me, because some of those songs are, in my mind, kind of post-Pixies, still kind of crunchy.
Yeah.
But then also had some really pretty ones on there that you could tell he was kind of, as he, I guess, matured a little bit and was more comfortable kind of doing that. Some of those came out. Like Goodbye is really pretty, a real floaty one. And there's some of them in there, you could tell he was kind of like writing for him. He wasn't, this is what I want to do. And there's still some really great songs. I really like Calistan on there. That's got a really good kind of moving across the country sound. He definitely have expanded his like audio narrative. That sounds really pretentious, but it wasn't just like crunchy and soft. He really made some interesting moves on there. So
I think that's actually about a road, isn't it? Is it the King Highway or King's Road or something like that?
I think so. I've never been to California, but it's definitely California vibe, like Mulholland and all that. And Teenager, I'm looking at him over here so I don't forget these records. But when I saw the poster of him on the cover, I laughed for probably a straight hour. I loved him. And that's my Photoshop picture of choice. Whenever I have my friends, I like to put their heads in that picture and change it out and say Banks of the Year or Tom of the Year. I love to put their faces in that little photo. So
he's quite happy to send himself up, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Some of the pictures inside of that, like where he's got the crazy X-ray specs, and I think he's holding a lizard or something. He didn't take himself too seriously, which I like about him. He seems to have a good dry sense of humor. So
from his solo career then, do you have a favorite album and a favorite track?
I probably like the Catholic stuff. I like, his couple solo, Cult of Ray. I liked Men in Black. I thought that was a pretty awesome song. Good and crunchy. And then the Catholic stuff really got more rock and roll for me, which I like. It was less kind of experimental. I mean, there was still some weird stuff, but there was some really great, just like rocking out. I mean, the band there on that, they're incredible. The guitar is amazing. His voice is really good. Some of the stuff like All My Ghosts, that's just an amazing first track on that album. That's always what interests me on his stuff, is the first track that really kind of sets the whole place for it. Pistolero was awesome. I love Western Star. I'm a Bowie fan, so whenever I see a little click like that, I like that. And
that's been a popular choice, Western Star.
Yep. I like the stuff too where he kind of switches it up, like South Bay is a really great song where it starts off really gritty and then it just in the middle it just flips and it's that kind of doo-wop falsetto, and it's just it's really amazing. So
cool. So a favorite album from his solo career, and then I like to try and get one from the Catholics as well. So if you can separate them out, that would be great.
Yeah, I'd probably do. So it's Black Letter Days. Is that Catholics or is that?
Yeah, I consider that as being Catholics. Yeah.
Okay, I'd say Frank Black #1 then. This is first probably my favorite. I liked Whatever Happened to Pong is a great song, and also Theocracy. That one's a really short, fast burner that just goes. And every time I hear that, I'm just like, wow. I usually listen to that twice because it's a little fast. I'm like, okay, I'm going to repeat that one because I didn't get enough of that.
So
That's
you like the fast sort of shouty ones then?
I do sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That puts me in a better mood. Yeah. And
Uh-huh.
he always weaves in such clever references in there. And, it's good to either now that we have the internet to be able to look at the words and go, oh, that's not what that I thought it said 20 years ago. It's like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Yes.
I know exactly what you mean. I think they must be one of the most, him and Pixies must be one of the most misheard acts, I think, around in popular music. So sort of,
Definitely.
you think you're singing something correctly, and then you actually look up the words, and it's something completely different. So.
Completely different and usually a lot more interesting and prophetic thought too. It's like, yeah.
Okay, so what about a Catholics track then?
Boy, I like oh man. I'm a big fan of Tom Waits too, so I like
Okay.
Black because he does Tom Waits in and out on that one. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it'd probably be something off of Black Letter Days. It might be I Will Run After You. I think that's a really beautiful song, and that's one with the internet I learned how to play, so I play that one over and over and over badly on a guitar.
Okay, cool. Well, that's
Um,
interesting because Matt, who I was telling you, he went for Hey. He also went for I Will Run After You as well.
I really love that one.
Yeah.
Jane, the Queen of Love is also awesome. I love the kind of the rhythm of that. It just kind of gets going and just keeps going. It's almost like a train running. It just really has a great beat to it.
Mm-hmm.
The one that always intrigues me the most about him of this era, that was that song Announcement. And it just doesn't sound like him. The way he's singing it, it is so unlike any of his voices. He's got the falsetto voice and he's got the screamy voice and he's got the gruff voice. But something about that, if somebody told me it was somebody else, I'd almost believe them. I mean, it's him, but I don't know what he's doing, but it doesn't sound like his voice.
Uh-huh.
That one's always intriguing, and it goes through so many changes. It's almost like like something like some kind of prog rock. It's got like 14 different parts and lots of chord changes, and there's just a lot going on. It sounds like it would be a soundtrack to a movie because there's just so many ups and downs. That one's always cool. I have some friends of mine. We do this music group where one of us will pick like a theme, and then each one has to submit 6 songs that follow that theme, whether it's like food or clothes or shipwrecks or something like that. And then whoever picks the theme arranges the tape and then sends it back, so they kind of play the DJ. And we did one where it was we all listen to a lot of music, so we have a pretty good library to pull from. It was one word song titles in alphabetical order.
Oh,
So
wow.
we 6 or 8 songs based on a letter. It had to be a one-word title. And I just pulled them all randomly. I got A. So I used Announcement as the intro to that whole thing. And it's a perfect kickoff track for a compilation. So
Yeah.
Cool. It was good. That's probably my favorite Catholic song.
I've got that written down. Cool. So a lot of your friends still into Pixies now, then, are they?
Yeah, and I kind of took a break from them, after probably about 2000. I listened to just so much through college and kind of took a break, and I would always come back and listen to some Frank Black. I worked in this custom wood shop for a year when I lived in Atlanta, and there's 3 of us in the back, and we had this crappy old CD boombox, and we had 3 CDs that we played all day over and over. And it was Frank Black and the Catholics, Pistolero, and Presidents of the United States of America. I don't know if you know them, but
Yeah.
It's funny. And we just listened to that over. Go in, put one in, click, play it. Next person would go over, put the next one in, just over and over for like a year.
Are they the one that did Peaches? Was it Peaches that they did?
Yeah, they did Peaches and Lump, and there's just a bunch of.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Guy plays like a 3-string guitar.
Yeah.
Super stripped down. So I kind of took a break, and from that, and then everybody's been on Facebook a lot with COVID, and I saw the Pixies Frank Black page and joined it, and just kind of seeing everybody posting hits and new albums, it just got me back into it, and it was awesome. It's just what I needed. So I just got to live all that, and everybody has been so nice. you people on this group are better friends than a lot of my real life friends.
Yeah, there's certainly something to be said for that. No, you're absolutely right.
People are so nice and friendly. It's awesome. It's just such a great beat right now, and it's just kind of reminding me of all this, of all the things. I'm like, oh, I have Devil's Worship. I've totally forgot about that. Or, most of this. I think I kind of stopped. I have Fast Man, Raider Man. That was about the end of my Frank Black solo stuff I had. And a friend of mine sent me Grand Duchy because he really likes female singers. And that one was also weird, but I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
And then I remember Indie Cindy, Head Carrier, and BTE, obviously. So I haven't listened to Indie Cindy and Head Carrier much. Probably the only song I can list off there is Bag Boy. You'll probably slap me for that one, but
okay,
it's awesome. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Uh-huh. I like Bag Boy, but I can understand why it wouldn't be to everyone's taste. But
yeah, it's a hit, but I like it. It's still real crunchy, and I don't know if you've ever seen the video. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I've been listening to more of that, and definitely Beneath the Eye is awesome. There's some really great tracks on there too. Mm-hmm. Crunchy ones. There's some screamers. There's some pretty ones. I like Paz. I think she's awesome. So
yeah, and of course she sings vocals on the new single.
Yeah, I like the new single too. The video, yeah, you're right. It's like cowboy. I was kind of like I don't get the cowboy thing, but it's cool. It doesn't have to. I still remember seeing the video for what was that for Valoria, the slow motion run down the hill.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about right. I wouldn't expect anything less from them. So,
well, I think back then they weren't really into the whole sort of video thing, were they? Anyway, and it's probably they didn't have a lot of money to spend on big productions in the way that maybe they do now. So,
I think it was something, and somebody will tell me that I'm wrong, I'm sure, but it was something like the song was going on the BBC. And they wouldn't play it if it didn't have a video or something.
That's right. Yeah, it was a show called Top of the Pops.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then they went on it anyway, so which was really frustrating. But I mean, it wasn't Top of the Pops as a show wasn't really designed for music like Pixies, to be honest. It was all sort of top 40, generally very commercial sort of stuff. But there was a chance that they would have been on the show, but they didn't have a video for it. So there we go.
That's funny.
Never mind.
How did the Pixies hit the UK? Was that just kind of by storm, or did it creep up?
So my sort of first recollection of them is around about 88, 89, and I first heard them on a radio show on the BBC. A DJ called John Peel. Actually, John Peel he lived in America actually for a while. He was around. Sadly, he died about 10 or 15 years or so, probably longer ago now. Relatively young, but he had a show late at night on the BBC, playing very sort of obscure sort of music. There was nothing really very commercial, and if bands that he played did get too commercial, then he never sort of played them again after that. So it was really sort of independent music, grunge music, however you want to sort of describe it. They would played a lot of reggae and punk and stuff like that, and really quite obscure sort of music. And that's where I heard Pixies first of all. So that's how I got into them.
Nice. So, I remember somewhere back in the day I had the John Peel sessions with the Pixies that had Honey Pie on it, which was awesome.
That's right. Yeah.
Kind of crossover. So yeah, interesting.
So I think for a while they were probably bigger in the UK than they were in America, actually. Which I think is why they keep coming back, because whenever they come and tour, they always do a decent number of gigs in the UK as well. So, there's certainly a following for them still in this country. And I think that dates back to how they were sort of promoted over here in the late 80s.
Definitely. Yeah, and you hear a lot of bands like I know Radiohead said they saw them and they're just like, oh man. So I think the more people, Radiohead and Nirvana, everybody that references them, maybe get a little more popular. But yeah, they've never been, I'm fine with that, but they've never been really popular here in the States, other than with really cool, smart people.
So when they're on tour, would they come through Charleston ordinarily?
They might. I don't know. Probably not. I'm close to Charlotte. Charlotte's a big city, so they probably wouldn't come to Charleston. I think do like a 20-city tour around the States, DC, maybe Charlotte, probably Atlanta. I saw them in Atlanta. in the United States, we have Fox Theaters, which are kind of an old style 30s, 40s kind of retro fancy theater. Saw them there somewhere 2000-ish. It's great. Same thing. It was a really beautiful, it was kind of the Arabic theater with the stars on the ceiling and the super ornate carvings. Seeing the Pixies there was interesting. Juxtaposition of that, but it was, great tour. Again, I swear they played every single song they ever had. Didn't mess around. It just banged it out. It was awesome. So,
and going back to the imagery and that of the band, I think you're quite into the t-shirts and the posters and as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, all their albums are just so, I don't think they did it to make merchandise, but the graphics and the symbols, all the little things on Bossa Nova, all the little gears and numbers and critters and all that. I mean, it's just made for that. So I've got a bunch of t-shirts. I've original Death to the Pixies t-shirt back from the day. It's all stretched, a bunch of holes in it. And, I've got a new Doolittle shirt finally to replace my old one about 2 months ago when the merch store actually finally got some shirts other than triple extra large in that day before we bought them all. And it's just fun. I like seeing all this stuff. I like that somebody posted a Frank Francis coffee mug. I drink a lot of coffee, so that's probably my next eBay hunt I'm going to start on, looking for that. So, yeah, I love the posters. I'm on the Facebook poster group too, and just kind of seeing what's out there now that I can actually put them up and afford some of them. They're really beautiful. So.
You've got something that you showed me just before we came on air as well.
I have a new music Frank Black card here, which is awesome. You can buy the whole deck on eBay, or these are about each. So
sorry, how much each?
About $3. They're not bad. They come from England, so they'd be cheaper for you. I guess. This must be I don't know if you can see it near Trompe Le Mans. He's got like this inflatable globe.
Yeah, I see it.
Face. But it was cool. I saw that and I'm like, I got to have that. So I've got that on a little frame here. My work from home, I've got my little office set up with all my stuff to keep me happy during the day,
Why did you choose that one particularly? What was that? The Jack of Diamonds, is it? Jack of Diamonds or Hearts?
It was just the 7 of Diamonds. That's what it comes on.
Okay.
One is a different suit. Like I have a Lou Reed one somewhere and I got David one. So it's a whole set of kind of new Music Express. Is that the?
Oh, yeah.
They did that. So it's got, all of the kind of the cool people. There's like an Ian Curtis and, anybody you would think that would be a hipster that would be on a playing card. They have the whole deck. So sure. Yeah, I saw that one. I have that.
So what sort of other music are you into at the moment then? What other bands are you listening to currently?
I try, I keep trying to listen to new music, but I usually just find old music I haven't heard yet and kind of go back to that. Like I said, Pixies, I'm always back and forth with Lou Reed and David Bowie. Obviously there's not any new music there, but kind of back to that era. Really like a band called Boss Hogg. I don't know if you've heard of them. John Spencer Blues Explosion. So he was in a band in DC, a really gritty punk band, and then he met his wife, and so they kind of have a 5-piece called Boss Hogg. They did like 3 or 4 albums. Actually, they just put a new one out, and it's guitar rock. She sings. She's got a great, sexy voice, and there's some keyboards in there, and it's kind of groovy. It's kind of, and then John Spencer is his thing, so it's 2 guitars and a drummer. They don't have a bass. Yeah. Kind of funky bass lines on a guitar. He screams a lot. He's kind of like a dirty Elvis kind of. Yeah.
Good way to describe it.
Yeah, he's kind of, I think he'd say that too. He's kind of got big sideburns. He's kind of greasy looking Elvis guy, but he screams a lot. And, it's pretty cool, I guess.
Cool. And so where do you see the band going now then? Hopefully once we get out of lockdown and they can get back on the road and record and that again, do you think they've got a few more years left in them?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're kind of kicking off on Pixies 2.0. I mean, who knows what kind of dynamic goes on behind all that, but they seem pretty happy. The music is pretty well thought out, and they seem to be pushing well. And I I've seen a few Joey interviews. He seems pretty happy, and I'm sure they're all ready to get out of their respective houses. But I think they'd be good. Yeah, I could see them doing some other stuff. And I wonder if they're going to lean more on Paz, because I mean, she did such a good job on the new album with writing and singing. I wonder if Frank's going to kind of give her a little more space.
Yeah, possibly.
Be interesting.
Yeah, because he can't keep screaming and hollering forever in a day, can he?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He did some nice, quiet, beautiful stuff on the new album too. I mean, Daniel, pretty and really simple, and reminded me of Caribou. Actually, when I heard that, I kind of like those two are kind of bookends, maybe.
Yeah.
So
they're due to come over here next summer. They announced recently a show with Pearl Jam in Hyde Park in London.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw that.
Yeah.
It's a big combo there, those two guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so hopefully that will be able to go ahead, COVID allowing. But
yeah,
it's some way off. But yeah, it'd be great for them to get back on the road again. And well, they didn't even really complete their tour last time, did they? So they were in Australia and had to.
I was thinking they were in Australia when they pulled the plug, and they're like, "Sorry, guys."
Yeah,
so yep.
Yeah, but hopefully good times ahead as well. So
yeah.
Anyway, Rob, come to the last question, which I primed you for. So hopefully you've had time to think about it.
I've been thinking.
So there you are in a dream, and suddenly you find yourself on stage naked in front of thousands of adoring fans. You can have your guitar. You've already asked me about that. You can have your guitar to cover your modesty. Which Pixies song are you going to sing for them?
Well, yeah, like you said, it'd probably be a short one. I don't know. I guess I think of ones I play guitar some. I'm not a good guitar player, but I play good enough for me. So
okay.
I like to play Wave of Mutilation. That's kind of a short, I don't know, it's a short song. I'm comfortable with that one, so maybe my comfort in playing that would make up for my lack of clothing and uncomfortableness.
Okay.
That one. Or I know you said people like Tame, because that's also a quick one too.
Yeah.
Maybe Gouge Away. I kind of like that one too. It's like, you know what? I'm naked. Let's just do this.
Okay. All right. Gouge Away it is then.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Good choice. Rob, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you giving up your time to talk to me. And it's been great getting to know you and to hear your story about Pixies. So thank you very much indeed.
Definitely. Thank you for your time too. You do an excellent job as an interviewer. Make me very comfortable, and you're doing awesome. So thank you for this. And you're cranking out a lot of really great podcasts. So I flipped through a few of them last night to figure out what I was up for, and they're really interesting. It's nice to get to know everybody. This really helps in this crazy time of everybody being locked in rooms. So it's been awesome.
Thank you very much for your kind words. I appreciate it.
You got it. Yeah, definitely.
All the best to you. Good to speak to you.
You too. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.